Welcome, everybody, to Anonymous Live. I'm starting a few minutes late tonight. Thank you for waiting. Always great to see a few people in here. If you're new here, this is not entertainment. This is not entertaining. This is a very different kind of place than you might be used to on this channel. We will be here for about 2 hours listening to anonymous calls. We don't know who's calling. We don't know what they're calling about. Anyone is free to call for whatever reason, so long as they remain anonymous, so long as we don't get ideological or political or into some kind of debate about what's right and wrong. We are here to hear honest accounts, raw accounts from people and what they're going through. We believe here that conversation is important, that a lot of good can come from just good old-fashioned conversation. Some things are out of place on my desk. Let's put some things back in order. The milk carton. Got some CDs out of place here. These are my coasters. Let's see here. Let's get everything in order. And while we're waiting on lines to start up, I will address the chat. Let's see what I've missed here. Christopher Slavin, is he still doing the helping counseling thing? This is not I will take this opportunity to say this is not counseling. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not an expert in pretty much anything. I'm an expert in cameras. I'm fairly proficient in storytelling and screenwriting, depending on your standards on that. But I'm certainly not a psychologist. I'm here to listen to people and just give people a place to share what's on their mind. I'm an open-minded ear. I believe that people just need to talk about stuff sometimes, and that sometimes it's hard to talk about that stuff with friends. And so we just provide a place here for people to just talk about whatever's on their minds. And I'm not going to judge you if you call in. I'm not here to debate you. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm going to ask questions if you call in, but I give you anonymity. No names, no locations, so long as you give that to us and to yourself. We'll have a conversation for as long as you need. We try to keep calls here to about 30 minutes. Sometimes we go over that, but it's rare. So I'm just kind of addressing some things that I'm seeing in the chat here. What else? Would I ever want to be a psychologist? It's always been kind of a pseudo dream of mine to study psychology, but it would have to make a lot of sense. I'm very fascinated by psychology, but it doesn't make sense for me to study it right now. Yeah. CRS Racing says I should throw in the occasional COD video and sketch here and there. Yeah, I'm working on that. Not so much the COD part, but the sketches. CRS Racing, you will be, I hope, pleased with an announcement coming here in the next week. I hope. I'm slowly working my way towards more sketches on the channel. It's difficult in 2022 with sketches on YouTube. It's difficult. But I have an announcement coming that I'm pretty excited about, and I hope it changes some things. Okay, guys, lines are opening. Let's see here. Saw a couple calls coming in, but things were not ready on my end, so I missed those. If you've called in at this point, you can call back. I think lines are ready to go now. Okay, here come some calls. We're going to dive right in. Here we go.
I think lines are ready to go now.
Hello, thanks for calling.
Here come some calls. We're going to dive. Hi, Julian.
Hi there. Can you turn your speakers down? I'm getting a little bit of feedback.
Oh, sorry. Is it better now?
Let's carry on. I hope so. I don't know yet, but let's just see how it's going. Can we start with your age and a brief intro?
I'm 22, and this should be a kind of shorter call. I'm just calling in to update the situation. Obviously, I don't know if we can trace back what the call was, but anyways,
Are you a return caller? You've called before?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if that's an issue because I know you would probably want to like talk to like new people.
No.
Um,
We welcome anybody to call back with an update. What's glad you're calling back. What's the update?
so I called in a few weeks ago, just a few days after discovering that I was in a relationship with a narcissist, and this whole thing has like pretty much consumed me. I have a hard time moving on. Um, Not necessarily from this person because I don't really have any romantic feelings for this person, but just so everyone like um I'm so sorry. I'm scattered right now. I just need to focus. So essentially
Take your
I
time.
was
Take a
in a
deep breath if you need. Take any
yeah,
time you need. Take a deep breath if you need. Take a few seconds if you need. Collect your thoughts if you need. The floor is yours.
okay. Um so I'm just gonna update the chat, um just just for the backstory. I was in a relationship with a narcissist, and this person essentially got me pretty much addicted to them through their love bombing, and I essentially lost myself in this process. I look back and I completely lost myself. I had things that I wanted to do for myself that I always put to the side for this person, and that's exactly what they wanted, because that's what narcissists basically do. But they discarded me and just kind of broke up with me, and they told me, we could still be friends and not moving on from you. I still have feelings for you. I love you and all this stuff. But it was clear to me that she was lying to me and was saying these things um, to hide the fact that she was talking to someone else the whole time. Now, this happens a lot with people. Maybe they just go on to someone else. But the difference between maybe a regular person and this person is that this person had absolutely no real consideration for my feelings and how I felt, and it was completely one-sided. And it was just draining, exhausting, and I'm still healing from this to this day. And the update is, you know, I've I've worked almost 200 hours within the past month, and while I was working, I have been listening to like videos, Dr. Romani, several other different
Good.
resources and things like that. I listened to two of the books that you recommended me, Julian. I listened to Psychopath 3, I think 5 times, and I listened
Whoa!
to Should
In
I
a
Stay or
month?
Should I Go? Dude, I have been working so much
That's a
that it
great
just
book. Is that book? Can you give us an endorsement? You have officially listened to that book more times than I have. Can you give us an endorsement on that book? And the author will appreciate it.
so
It's a great
so
book.
Julian, I want to thank you for recommending this book because it was the thing that like catapulted me, because there was like
There you
that
go.
quasi
Great.
healing, 10-minute bits. But no,
Yeah,
this book, Psychopath 3 by Jackson McKenzie, is
that's right.
the book to read, to listen to if you're going through something like this.
That's right.
And I felt terrible for spending this much time. And granted, I was working. Like, it wasn't like I was just sitting in bed or anything like that, but I was working and I was listening to this book, and it would just help my day go way faster, but also just validate everything because they would say things in the book, and then you're just like, that happened to me.
Oh yeah.
Like, that happened.
Duh.
Like, it's so, and like, I still have denial even to, it's not really like, I don't
Yeah.
struggle with it as much, but I still have denial. I'm like, this is real, this is the reality. Like, this stuff exists. People go through this. This is real. Like, narcissism is real. Narcissistic personality disorder is a real thing. I don't know whether or not this person I was involved with is a psychopath, but they're definitely on this narcissistic spectrum. So that is the main thing, to call back and let you know that your recommendation has healed me. It has helped me so much. I still struggle with it, which is normal. I shared in the call that I was going back to school with this person. I actually had my first day of school today, and I haven't seen this person yet, but we're supposed to see each other for our this group thing that we're in. I'm not going to explain it just because of the anonymity, but
Thank you.
I'm terrified to see him again because it's been a while. I'm afraid that all of the work that I've done, like I've been journaling, I've been listening to these 10-minute videos and just taking a few seconds and just jotting down key information, just to read back and heal and meditate on and things like that. But I'm afraid that as soon as I see this person again, all this stuff will go out the window. The trauma bond will prevail, and I'm just going to get the air sucked out of my lungs. I'm afraid of that, but I really think that I'm stronger than that, because realistically, even though this person may have, shit talked me or whatever behind my back or ruin opportunities for me, it doesn't matter, because the truth is that I'm better off without this person. I can go full speed ahead into my career, my own career, what I want to do, and not with this narcissistic person who needs, validation and all these other things, for them. Like, they literally cannot exist without it. And I've seen it firsthand. And I look back at it and I'm like, there's no way that this person could ever separate themselves from supply, no wonder, anyways,
Can I stop you there before you change points? Can I stop you there? I'm sensing you're going to change points. I'm sorry to butt in, but you mentioned, I don't want to get away from what you just said. You mentioned two things that I don't want to forget. You said that you trauma bonded with this person and that they went on to shit talk you. And I'm wondering what those two, can you define those two experiences for us in your experience?
So in my experience or in general?
Yeah, what did it feel like? You mentioned. I'm stopping because you mentioned two things. You mentioned trauma bonding and shit talking, and those two things go obviously hand in hand. So how did you experience that?
So, just for anyone who doesn't know what a trauma bond is, a trauma bond is essentially an addiction to someone that you were either in a relationship with or that you just had contact with for a period of time. But it's this, that they're not good for you, hence the trauma, the abuses happen, but you are chemically, like, in your brain, accustomed to thinking about this person, about to take care of this person, to just cater to them, and that's it. You're set to do that. And I got really they were very hot and cold, and their good behavior was like a reward to me. And when they were mistreating me, it felt like I needed to work a little bit harder to to get that good behavior out of them, or just to be treated right. So I'm trauma bonded because I still have this. It's not necessarily feelings, but it's just that my brain just. It's like getting off of drugs or alcohol. You have that craving. You need that bump. You need the sip, and once you get that, it'll be okay. But I'm off of this drug now. And I struggle with it. All the time, and I find myself thinking about this drug, who is actually just this person, and I'm just like, when will this end? I want it to stop. Like, this person probably hasn't thought about me at all in this period of time because they just don't care about me, and that's just the way a narcissist is. And so that's the trauma bond, and that's how I've experienced it. And then the shit talking is just, quite frankly, I really don't know whether or not they've shit talked. But and our mutual friends haven't really treated me any differently, but there are some professional connections that I sense have been tampered with a little bit. It's mostly just speculation, but after reading consuming the literature and all that stuff, it's pretty safe to say that my name has been absolutely dragged through the mud, even though they got pissed off at me for quote unquote doing that, but I didn't even really do it. Like it was, this isn't just me, I'm not bullshitting myself. I really didn't drag her name through the mud, but she says I did, but she says that I did. And I think it's really just a projection of, what she was going to do or is doing. Like, I really don't know, but that's the shit talking and the trauma bond. And, it's just difficult. I wish I could just not have this person in my life because it'd be way easier. But I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna hoover me. I don't really see any reason why they've blocked me on social media. Like I can't see anything anymore, which is not honestly for the good. But me and my trauma bond itself, like I would search this person up on Facebook very often, and then not that they got an indication of that, but I soon found out that I was blocked, and no real communication why, it's just boom, I guess I'm done, but it's really for the better. And anyone that's going through a narcissistic relationship, like even though they push you away and even though they just throw you away like you're a bag of litter or something like that, like it's really for the better. And I know that this is for the better, but my brain is just so just wired for them, like I'm barely noticing myself thinking about my own self instead of them, and I want to continue, but I don't. And again, I've listened to Psychopath Free like 5 times, like why isn't it, what's the next step? Do I just need to like let time do its thing? Do I keep meditating? Like I have I made up videos and stuff like that I watched for narcissistic relationships, and there's like over 200 videos on there, and they're like 10 minutes each. I feel like I'm very obsessive. I feel like I'm compulsive over this, but it's just I'm trying to figure out how to move on because the abuse has really affected me, and I don't really have therapy, so I have to go to these resources. But like, I just don't know what the next thing is, because I'm just, I'm a little, I don't know, I feel kind of paralyzed a little bit, but still strong. That makes sense?
Yeah. I was doing my best to listen there. You mentioned 3 things that I want to get to. I will not be able to remember all 3 of them because I was trying to listen, and that's the irony that you just went into such a deep. Maybe I should have cut in earlier, one by one, so I could address each thing. There were 2 or 3 things there you mentioned that I'm trying to remember. The first thing, I'll start with the first thing. The first thing that you mentioned that stuck out to me was that you mentioned some kind of addiction to the feeling of being in a relationship with a narcissist. Where do you think that comes from?
I think it's very calculated on the narcissist part. I think, and what I've been told, oh, it's they don't really choose anybody. They find someone that either has something that they don't, or they, for me, for example, I feel very, looking back, I felt like I was very boyish with my trust in people, and this person put up a facade of this change. I had known them before, and they were this bitchy,
Right.
grouchy, thing, and that was who they really are, but they got so good at masking it, and I thought that it was
Mm-hmm.
real change.
That
And
was the second thing that reminded me.
and and it was crazy because I was completely fooled, you know, and they're just so good at just they're con artists, you know, and they pull this stuff off and they do it so well, and they should get paid for it. Well, they shouldn't
But
get paid for it.
let me butt in here because I'm gonna struggle to keep up with you're making a lot of points really well, and I don't want to if I can
No,
interrupt
no,
because I
no.
don't want to I
Yeah,
want to I
no
want to
problem.
I want to ask the questions as they come in if that's okay. Uh, that's not really what I'm getting at. I'm saying like there's a reason that we like people who have a propensity for alcoholism, to put it in a totally different category. People who have a propensity for alcoholism have that because they have family that has alcoholism. So my question earlier about what do you think made you, maybe I didn't ask it poignantly enough, but I was trying to be uh, light about it. Like, people aren't attracted to narcissists for no reason. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe that is to say that narcissists exist for a reason. That's a
Mm-hmm.
hot take. That's a hot take. But the point is,
No, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
what is it from your past that lured you into a narcissistic relationship?
Um, in in discovering that this person was a narcissist, I also made the connection that my grandmother, who is estranged from the family, is
Hmm.
also a narcissist, and
Hmm.
my dad is also a narcissist, and he is divorced from my mom.
Mm.
And when I line them up next to each other, this person I've been involved with, my grandmother and my dad, they are quite the bunch. You know what I'm saying? Like they would.
Are the mother and
I,
the dad
I'm
related? The grandmother and the
Um,
dad?
no, they were on the opposite side.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe some sexual selection ruled out narcissism on both parts of your family, but at different times.
yeah. I talked to my mom about it, and I was like, "Do you think you might have been attracted to my dad because you were so used to how grandmother
Interesting.
treated you? Like you thought that,
Interesting.
because
Wow. Yeah, that's
she's
it.
also
Interesting.
she's also very aware of like her situation, and
Interesting.
she was actually the person who popped that keyword. And when she said that, I was like, no, I feel like people just use that word on TikTok and they're just armchair psychologists.
That's
But then
true.
I went to
That's
work
true.
the next day.
Your mom's
Yeah,
smart.
and I'm very like, you know, I was very careful about it because I don't know about this, but she used that key word, and then I went to work and then I looked up narcissist in YouTube. Boom, the first video was like, what? I wish you could have recorded my face when I made the discovery, but it just clicked, and then I'm like, this isn't my fault because I've done this before with my grandmother, with my dad. I have I have severe boundaries with both of them. I haven't talked to my grandmother in years. She's not allowed to call or text me. She
Right.
showed up. She's traveled like 1,000 miles, like across the country, just to show up at our doorstep and be turned away because she has no sense of boundary. And we can't just let her in. Like that's not. Why would she do that? And we were pretty certain that when she got turned away, she went to all of her friends or whatever, and bad talk all of this. Oh, they hate me and they have no love for me and all this stuff. Like, no, we set a boundary with you and you don't respect it, and you don't say sorry, and you don't care. It's just about you, you know. So
Right.
when I look at these things with my dad and my grandmother, I think just like my mom was attracted to my dad, I might have been attracted to this person. And it's just a weird thing to think about. But yeah, I think, I learned at an early age what love meant or whatever these dynamics. And I don't know, I don't know much about the science between parental relationships and then, but that connection definitely is there. It happened with my mom and it happened with me. And I felt like I was in love with this person. I felt like there
I
was no
see.
room for me to take a step back and be like, hey, this isn't normal, because this narcissist would put me through things and I would just think that it was okay. I thought that it was
Right.
normal, but it isn't. And I'm like discovering that and I'm like, what? It's just insane that this is real,
That's
like
right.
I'm going
That's
through
right.
this right now. This narcissism is real and this is crazy. I just have those moments and it seems so, well, duh, but it's like, no, it's hard for me to chew on this. So I'm so sorry that I'm going fast and everything. Um,
It's okay.
I
I'm not
don't
going to
want
be
to,
able to address all of your points. Because you're mentioning so many true things. If I can touch on one thing you just said, you mentioned it's so hard to chew on these things. There are so many points you've raised that are excellent points that I'm not going to be able to touch on because they're already in the past, and I regret
yeah,
that. I wish I could keep up. I'm just trying to create. This is a place where you can share, and I hope it's valuable to other people. But you just mentioned something that I don't want to let go by. You mentioned that you are that it's so peculiar that you're attached to it, and there's a that leads me to a book that I want to plug here. Maybe a great follow up book. Did you already read "Should I Stay or Should I Go" by Dr. Ramani? That's usually the first.
yeah,
I never. Oh, you did read that one?
yep.
Okay, great. I usually never plug Psychopath Free without plugging that one first. Should I Stay or Should I
Mm-hmm.
Go? Because that one's such a great first book to determine whether or not you might be in a relationship with a narcissist, of whether it's a dating relationship
Um,
or a family member or a boss. But if you've read both of those, there's another book you could read. You're asking a lot of questions that revolve around this. There's a book called Attached. It's called Attached: The New Science of Adult Attachment and How It Can Help You Find and Keep Love. And this is not a normal book. This is written by an MD named Amir Levine and Rachel Heller, who has her master's in. What does Rachel Heller have her master's in? It doesn't say. It's written by two smart people. This is a very popular book. It has 50,000 reviews on Goodreads and 4.5 stars. This is a wildly popular book. It's called Attached. This is not a normal book because it's not like you just read it and you get through it. Are you familiar with this book, Attached? I don't want to belabor the point.
not at all. I really,
Okay.
you know,
This is a great book. I would recommend this as a third book. This is a popular book here on this stream. This is a book that is not as simple of a read as the last two books we've been talking about by Dr. Ramani or Jackson McKenzie. This is a book that requires a little work on your part. It's kind of like a exhaustive workbook. It's a 14 chapter workbook. I don't actually know how many chapters are in it, but it's more than 10. Um, but this is a book that requires there's like a workbook along with it, and you have to kind of do some work. It's very interactive. Um, but this is a book that helps you determine your attachment style. And I'm not sure if
okay,
you're
great.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with your attachment style theory with attachment style theory, but basically it says that um, we develop attachment styles based on expectation from all kinds of factors, including childhood and our parental treatment and friendships from childhood. All kinds of factors go into this. But this is a very interesting book. It's not an easy read because, again, it's very interactive. But I'm going to put this in the chat for you. It's a great third book to read based on the questions you're asking, in my opinion, anyway. I don't want to waste anybody's time. But because you seem to think those last two books you read were really good, I'll throw this in attached. I'm not going to put the subtitle in because it's really long. But here's the
That's
Goodreads
okay.
link. It's in the chat for you. And again, this is like a glorified workbook. You have to go through it and do some work. You don't just read it. And don't listen to the audiobook. It's worthless because it's interactive. It's not like horribly produced or something. It's just like you want to read this and go through the workbook and have a pencil and write stuff out with a pencil. Don't
Okay.
listen to the audio. That's just my opinion. Don't listen to the audiobook. Like read it and do the workbook alongside of it. But what the questions you're raising seem like they stem from childhood. Like you're mentioning that you were addicted to this narcissist, that uh, you were attracted and kind of trapped preconditionally, and
Hmm.
that you were kind of conditioned to expect the terms of relationship that you signed up for. And that is kind of what attached gets into. There might be a better book. There might be better books out there on this, but this is one of the more popular books on this topic of attachment style theory. And it'll help. You'll come out of this book with, I believe it's one of 6 attachment styles. I think there's 6 attachment styles. It's been a while since I finished this book, but I think there's 6. There's like anxious, there's avoidant, there's anxious avoidant, there is I don't know why I'm zeroing in on those. There's what are the other attachment styles? I'm not doing this book justice. I'm only giving you 3 of them. There's like 3 more attachment styles. There we go. Let's see. Here we go. I'm gonna attempt to give you the cliff notes just so I don't want you to waste your time in this book. So if what I'm about to say sounds any interesting. Okay, so this source I'm reading says there are 4 attachment styles. There's definitely more than that according to this book I'm recommending. One of them is anxious, one of them is avoidant, one of them is disorganized, one of them is secure. And there are combinations of each of those. I think that's what this source I'm reading leaves out. So there's so by my logic, there would also be anxious avoidant, which this source is leaving out. This source only lists 4. I think there's 6. So there would be also anxious avoidant, and I think there's also disorganized secure. I might be mixing the last one up, but I know there is definitely anxious avoidant. So do your own research. But if any of what I just said sounds interesting, you might check out that attached book. It's a great book. If nothing else, you'll come out with some kind of understanding of what you're attracted to in a partner and how that affects your experience of a relationship.
No, I'm definitely going to check this out because, well, the first few recommendations from the last live stream that I called in absolutely changed the game for me. So, per your recommendation, I'm definitely going to check this one out too. I've actually wanted to know what my attachment style is because it affects all of the relationships, not just romantic ones. So
That's
if
right.
I can figure what that is and figure out what I am, then I could, better navigate the world and things like that. So
That's right.
thank you for the suggestion. So no audiobook, I will, physical copy, for sure. But yeah, I think, we're at 30 minutes. So, I just, I just want to thank you for, spending this time for us, the callers, and giving good resources and just being someone to talk to. Your call was the 40 minutes because it was 40 minutes. It wasn't supposed to be, but it went to 40 minutes, and that phone call just completely, it helped me so much because it's it's draining to have to go through that. Anyone who has been through a narcissistic relationship knows how terrible it can be. I've been on the subreddit narcissistic abuse, giving information, taking information, and being a part of that community. But I just want to thank you personally, Julian, just for having this for us, and thank you for chat for showing support and giving all that you give to the callers. So um, so just thank you for that, and I hope the next few callers tonight and everyone else can have a good and meaningful call that helps them as much as it helped me. So just thank you for that, Julian. I'm gonna end the call this time because I don't want to take up too much time because again I've already called and I know that I can call back, but I just just
Can I
thank you for
mention 2
that.
things before you
And
go? You're very kind,
yeah,
and you were kind to me and the chat. Can I mention 2 things before you go?
yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I want to highlight something from the chat that just came in, and there were a bunch of things from the chat earlier that I didn't get to that you should revisit later. We can't all be right, of course, but this chat is a resource to you for tomorrow when this chat is public to everybody. But one chat that just came in from Aiden Yelsma, I want to highlight. They say to you, I still sometimes think about whether I could have done something different in the past to change the course of many of my relationships. I get addicted to hope. And you mentioned earlier the feeling that you might be able to help the person you were in a relationship with, or to be able to I can't remember exactly how you put it. Maybe you said to endure things until they grew past it, or something like that. You mentioned some kind of sentiment like that, and I just want to say that seems really familiar with a lot of the stuff on a lot of the work done on narcissism. To be clear, none of this work is work that I have done. I'm just reporting this work that I've read from people like Dr. Romani and Jackson McKenzie and other psychologists that I'm a fan of. And the point is that sometimes there's this like white knight mentality that comes about when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, that in the early stages, especially if you're having sex with the person, just to get really blunt, especially if you're having sex with the person, you're exchanging oxytocin with the person, and oxytocin is more intoxicating than cocaine or alcohol or cannabis or pretty much any drug you can think of. It can withstand all kinds of turbulence in a relationship, such that you endure the turbulence to your detriment, to your own detriment. So the point is that you mentioned earlier, I don't know how deep that goes for you, but I certainly related with some of that, having been very close with a number of narcissists in my life in different relationship styles. And the point is that, yeah, like if there is some kind of sense that we can change these people, it's a bitter truth that a lot of these people cannot be helped. Again, this is not my work. I haven't done work to understand these things. The only work I've done is reading, which is not work. It's a leisure. So I'm simply reporting things that I've read from people, again, like Dr. Romani, who is arguably the most well-studied and researched psychologist as far as narcissism goes. But even she would say that white knight syndrome is a syndrome that people, just the same as psychopathy is. People who go into this is what a codependent relationship is. This is my point. And there's another point. I'm going to try to put this succinctly. It's already not succinct, but I'm trying to sum it up succinctly. A narcissistic relationship is codependent because most narcissists are attracted to a codependent individual, meaning somebody who is already expecting to give more of themselves than they can possibly deliver, and who neglect that they have needs of their own.
Mm-hmm.
And these are two fallacies that I just mentioned. Those are two fallacies. So that's why a narcissistic relationship is doomed, according to the work of people like Dr. Romani, again, and Jackson McKenzie and others. So, and that's why this work is so powerful. That's why I'm here mentioning it. And I hope that's helpful to anybody out there. And secondly, I just wanted to touch on briefly, this is never popular when I say it. In fact, whenever I say this, we lose viewers. But I just want to, I don't care, because it appears to be true according to the science. And again, I'm just reporting stuff. I'm not claiming this is any work I've done. I'm just reporting stuff. Narcissism is a tragedy. It's not like these people are Venom or Darth Vader or Hannibal Lecter. Some of these people might be archetypes based on narcissists, but narcissists are actually much more complex, and narcissism is a tragedy. It's a tragedy. It means that these individuals who suffer from narcissism cannot possibly exist in any other mental state. And it's a tragedy. So this is why I'm avoiding naming specific names that everybody would know here, because I don't want to inflame the conversation. But if somebody gets deemed as a psychopath in any way, shape, or form, it's a tragedy. It's not a I'm walking on eggshells here, ironically, because we're talking about narcissism. But the point is that, like, this is a tragedy. This is a tragedy. It's a tragedy because these people cannot empathize. That is to say, their brains cannot function properly. That is to say, they lack the mental capacity for empathy. They lack it. It's not that they don't engage with it intentionally. They lack
emotional
it.
underdevelopment. Yeah.
It's not even underdevelopment. Sometimes now you're talking about sociopathy, psychopathy.
Oh, okay. My bad. Yeah.
Psychopathy you're born with. Sociopathy you develop through trauma. So, psychopaths, which again are narcissists, borderline personality disorder, ASPD, and a couple of others. I think there's 5 total. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just reporting stuff that I understand. I'm not going to get all of it right, but I know for sure those 3 are correct due to the current understanding of science. I'm only naming 3. Those 3 in particular are psychopathies, not sociopathies. So sociopaths are different. There's differences. And please do your own research. Please. I'm not here to educate you. I'm here to just we're here to share together and create conversation. So I'm not claiming that I have all the answers. I certainly don't. But the point is that, like, no matter if these people are born with it or these people develop it due to trauma, it's a tragedy. That's my point. So no matter they're a psychopath or a sociopath, it's a tragedy. It's all a tragedy. And these people deserve some level of empathy from us. That's just a hot take from someone with maybe too much empathy. Like, it's just a hot take. I just feel that maybe people who we can't expect too much of these people.
Yeah.
And there are other people that we don't expect much from. So why shouldn't it be the same with sociopaths and psychopaths?
That's a great point.
And we shouldn't hate these people. That's the hot take. We shouldn't hate these people. People like I'll name the person I'm thinking of, even though every time I mention this person I get flack. Amber Heard. We shouldn't hate Amber Heard. Don't shoot the messenger. We shouldn't hate people like Amber Heard. I know my mods are like wincing right now. They're like, no, don't say Amber Heard. I'm just saying, like, look, we shouldn't hate people like this. We shouldn't hate them. They are deserving of justice. If they do something wrong, they should pay for it.
Yeah.
But we should not hate them.
It's in a way, it's kind of beyond their control sometimes. Not saying they're completely like they should not be held accountable, because yes, they should be held accountable, especially in law and things like that. And justice was served in the case of Amber Heard, I believe. But you know, I think you have a great point, because it is a sad existence to not have empathy, to not be able to form actual healthy relationships with people. And, you know, they're the ones that are missing out in the long run, you know, because people that do have empathy, I do believe that in relationships they do go farther. They make actual meaningful connections, and they're, you know, empathics. People that have empathy are able to form meaningful relationships, and they can't, because they just view people as supply, and they just see things differently. But I do believe that, you know, I shouldn't hate this person. They terrify me, and they have made me feel absolutely terrible. But I really like the framing of that, and it helps me kind of move.
A lot of these people cannot change. A lot of these people a lot of these people cannot change, according to the research.
Yeah.
I'm not claiming to have done work on this. I have funded 0 studies on this, but I have read many of them, And a lot of these people simply cannot change. A lot of this comes down to, again, the distinction between a sociopath and a psychopath, to be very clear. And people are going to have to do their own research on this, because I'm not going to be able to. I'm not here to educate people, but you're here talking about some really deep stuff, and I'm just sharing my take on what you're saying based on things I've read. Again, I've done zero funding of this research. I've done zero work on it. All I've done is read things, which is a very leisurely activity, but I've read a lot. And from my understanding, these people cannot change. A lot of them cannot change, but that comes down to the distinction of a sociopath and a psychopath. And even some of these people, even certain people in either category, cannot change. So it's very complicated. It's very complicated. It at least appears to be. And so and even if not, even if I'm totally wrong, even if it's not me that would be wrong, it's the research that would be wrong. Even if the current research is totally wrong, what else are we going to do? What are we going to just like, what are we just going to like force these people into, how would we even force them into submission? How do you force a psychopath into submission? You don't. So what's the best you can do? That's my point. What's the best you can do? The best you can do is extend grace, extend understanding that certain people cannot change, and certain people simply can't. And that, I believe, will prove to be true based on the available work that's been done. Like the current research can't be 100% wrong. So at best, there's a portion of it that's wrong at best, or at worst, depending on how you look at it. At worst or best, there's a portion of it that's wrong, but it can't be completely wrong. So that is to say that some people simply cannot change. And what do you do with those people? That's my point. What do you do with the people who cannot change? Do you
My
berate
grandmother,
them?
yeah. My grandmother has never changed in all my life, in my mom's life, in her siblings' life. And, I'm just taking a step back from my own life and just thinking about it in the framing that you're, giving. And what is to be done about someone like this? Well, what has worked for us is just boundaries with this person, my narcissistic grandmother. And the thing is that, me just looking back right now, my grandmother is getting older every single day, and we don't know what's going to happen if she passes. We don't know if we're just going to get a call one day and we find out that she passed. We don't have contact with her like that because she just doesn't respect boundaries. She's not healthy. We, would kind of, my dad especially, would, make fun of her and call her names and things. Not crude stuff, but definitely rude. And, call her crazy or mentally ill or something like that. But it's really, it's really just narcissism. And the thing is I think if I can have peace with setting boundaries with my narcissistic grandmother, I could definitely have peace with setting boundaries with this person that I have just been romantically involved with for a period of time. Because in reality, my relationship with my grandmother should be more important than, a relationship with this person. And if I can come to terms with that, I have to set this boundary with my grandmother. She's my grandmother.
Right.
When I was a kid and I had no idea what narcissism was, I loved her with all my being and things like that. And it breaks my heart to know that I'm missing out on so much time with her. She's alone, she's alone.
Right.
And she's delusional, and she can't step out of her own head for 1 second and just realize, even if she did, I think she'd implode on herself because she'd realize all of the mistakes, but she just has no capacity for that. So she'll never change. And in a way, this person I've been involved with will never change. And if I can come to peace with my grandmother, I should eventually, with time, come to peace with this person and just accept it. And, like you said, extend that grace and just not hate them. It's not, in a way, it's not their fault. They should be accountable for their actions, but their narcissism is beyond their own control, and they just have to deal with it, and it is a tragedy. And I agree with that. So thank you for framing that for me, and that helps. That helps 100%. So we've gone pretty much past the 30-minute mark. But I just want to thank you for this, and I can't thank you enough for having this resource for anyone to call in, and I just appreciate it so much. So thank you for this, Julian. Thank you.
Thank you for calling and being real. I wish you the best. You can call again anytime, and hope you enjoy the new book.
Okay.
And I hope that means something to you as much as it did to me.
I'm very excited for this next. Thank you for the 2 book recommendations. It really changed the game. And
I think that's 3 now, isn't it? Wouldn't that make it 3? Not to get nitpicky, make it 3.
Oh,
maybe
I think I misspoke or something.
I think I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong on all of them. I struggle even calling them recommendations.
Should I go? And then now attached, right? That's the 3rd.
Attached, yeah. So it would be 3. But again, like I'm not saying you should read all of these. I'm saying like please. I'm just making. These are the jokes. These are the jokes. But if Attached is a very strange book. I will give you that. There must be my sense on Attached is there must be a better book out there on this topic. If anybody has opinions on what might be a better book than Attached, I am all ears. For the record, including you or the chat. So I'm all ears. I have not found a better. I think there must be a better one because my opinion on Attached is that it's a lot of work to get out of it what you put into it. But it's a very popular book. It has over 50,000 reviews on Goodreads, 4.5 stars. So that's a wildly popular book. So I hope it's a. I want to be very careful calling them recommendations because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Well, for what it's worth, chat, anyone who is listening, Julian has an idea of what he's talking about. Like, it helps. Like, he may not know everything. He's just one man. There's no team behind him. But
it might have helped you. That doesn't. I'm not here to. I can't help everybody.
Well, that's true.
I'm not here. I'm not even here to help everybody. That's not even the point. It's just I'm here to create conversation. If a book that I've read can help, I've read a lot of books. If a book I've read can help somebody else, then that's great. That isn't me helping you. That's me. That's the author of the book helping you.
Well, okay, but here's the thing. Anonymous as a show is a resource that helps people put out their thoughts, have a conversation, and in the conversation, sometimes they get books recommended. So, if anything, maybe it's the show, maybe it's the author and the show, and it's you, or I don't know. This is getting kind of, I'm already lost in my thought, but
I appreciate the kind. You've been very kind. You've been very kind.
Yeah,
I appreciate the thought.
This helped me so much, and thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling and being real. I don't remember your first call, but you are welcome to call again anytime. Anytime somebody calls in dealing with a psychopath or sociopath, I'm very empathetic. I can only sympathize because it's a very real thing, and it's a very real problem because so many people come out of relationships with these people and they just come out very bitter, and that doesn't serve you, and it doesn't serve them. And it doesn't fix the damn problem if you come out of a narcissistic relationship bitter. My opinion is that one must grow out of these relationships into something more fruitful and in a way that can challenge the entire situation productively. You can't challenge it as a challenger, but to rise to the occasion with grace and to rise to the occasion with the understanding that certain people simply can't change. And to understand that some people are gonna be stupid, and it's okay.
I will say this just to bounce off in this final remark. I do feel like I'm stronger and I'm better off having learned this lesson, and I'm also 22. I'm glad I learned this lesson this early. It sucks. It's uncomfortable. It hurts. I'm still
Right.
hurting. I'm still going through this, but I'm glad it happened, and I'm not like in a marriage. I'm glad I don't have kids with this person. I'm glad that I have the room and now the time, since this fucking narcissist is not sucking all the time away from me, to discover myself and just figure out and do attached, do that book, because now I have the time, and just be about me and not about anyone else, especially
That's
fucking
right.
narcissists. I will say that. So I'm happy that this happened. I'm kind of coming out of this situation, but it's still ongoing. But I'm better off, from this, even though it did hurt. But it's a lesson learned, and I'm glad I learned it young. So, so yeah. Um, so yeah. Thank you again, Julian. I'm gonna go now. But I hope everyone has a good night, and yeah, thank you again, and have a good night.
Same to you. Good night. Thanks for calling. Call again anytime. Good night.
Good night.
Beautiful. Amazing. Every time we get a narcissistic conversation going, it's very tumultuous in the chat. Guys, I just hope you know there's some calls coming in. I'll get to them in a second. I just want to say, uh, I'm not an expert on narcissism. I have known many narcissists. I have known many psychopaths and sociopaths. Um, many of them self-proclaimed, and the self-proclaimed ones are the healthiest ones, in my opinion, because they are the ones who are the easiest to get along with because they are open about it. And so I'm not claiming to be an expert. I've just read a lot about this because for whatever reason, I have been very close with a lot of these people, and so I've read a lot of books on it. And so whenever I'm talking about this stuff, I'm not claiming to be an expert on it. I'm just regurgitating and reporting things that I've read. And yeah, I hope that's very clear. Please do your own research, especially if you're a caller. Do your own research. We're going to have a conversation if you call. I'm not claiming to have universal truth on anything. For that matter, no scientist can claim to have universal truth on anything because science changes every 20 years. So I hope that's clear what I'm saying. All right, lines are open. Beautiful conversation. That topic always gets me. It's very real. Wowzer. Hello, thanks for calling.
Hi. Hey, Julian. I have called before. Just want to say that first.
Another return caller.
Yeah, this is my fifth time total, so I just kind of wanted to update.
Fifth time? Did you say fifth time?
Fifth time, yes.
Okay, wow. Can we start? So then it won't be a surprise. Can we start with your age and then a brief recap?
Yeah, of course. I'm 30 years old. Recap is, I talked about a lot of different things actually, but one of the things that I talked about one of the times was my sister and how and actually all my family, I don't really have a good relationship with them, and it gets to me. It's been getting to me recently, and I think that's because of I don't know. I think it has to do a little bit with holiday stuff because I can get like the seasonal depression type of thing is kind of my thing. I didn't mention that earlier, but yeah, the thing about it is that my sister doesn't want to like be close with me. So I was actually listening to the first caller, and I hope this isn't, I'm not meaning to be like rude to like reference their situation and compare it to mine. So my intention is just to kind of make a connection maybe that will be easy to understand. Is that I felt like the grandmother in his situation. Like, I felt like my family is like setting boundaries with me that I'm like not completely understanding. And I guess I could say I somewhat understand because, you know, to be a little transparent about that, I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. It's a thing. And
Right.
but um sorry, did you say something?
Oh,
I
no,
got it.
I'm just tracking with you. I just said, right. I'm following.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Sorry, I haven't misheard you. But yeah, my um she set boundaries with me. I'm trying to be respectful of that. But also like I think I'm calling about like any sort of like something I could do about just accepting that she's not going to talk to me without like uh I don't know. It's something I fixate on, because family. But yeah, I don't know if that is a good recap or not, but
Accepting relational restraints. Would that be fair?
yeah, yep. That is very fair. And I think the hardest part is that like I'm going through my own struggles and sort of like need their assistance,
Right.
and um yeah, it's just hard.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I mean I've been okay, I guess, because I said I wanted to update, so I'll give there's not, things that have been all right. I've actually been probably in the most safe place that I've been at in a while. Not to worry anyone or
Good.
anyone listening, or it hasn't been like really bad either. Um, but it's just emphasis on like in the most safe place I've been. I I am grateful for all the people that are helping me, because I am receiving a lot of help, and it's like I'm grateful for it, but then I have to admit that I get kind of like I don't know if guilt is the right word here, but I kind of like guilt myself.
Hmm.
Like, no, guilt is not the right word. I'm not sure what. But yeah, I kind of just, I guess I kind of like blame myself for needing that help, and then I um, just kind of spiral with that. That makes sense.
Right.
Um,
You're
yeah.
reminding me of an amazing quote. I had to look this quote up to remember who it's credited to. This is a quote by Tony A. Gaskins Jr. The quote is, and in this case, it applies to your sister. It sounds like not you, but this is what your story reminded me of in the case of your sister. The quote is,
Mm-hmm.
"You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce."
Mm-hmm. I like that.
And
I feel like I've
and
heard that
so
somewhere, but I really like that. I've
yeah,
heard
and
that
so
before, but sorry.
so we might not like how people we might not like the boundaries people put on us at times. But my belief in light of this quote, and I don't believe this just because of this quote, this is just a quote I believe to be true, that uh, how we respond to people's boundaries, whether we respond to them with grace, whether we respond to them with resistance, whether we respond to them with a challenge or reciprocation, or however we choose to respond to it, uh, is important. Because sometimes people don't want things that are good for them. And yet,
I relate that to that.
right. And yet at the same time, people deserve their own autonomy, especially if you value freedom, if you value uh, free speech, if you value things like this, then people are deserving of your grace and your, you know, your respect. And that can be really difficult. I know from experience, it can be really difficult if it's a family member or a dear friend who is laying down some obscure boundary that's never existed before. And you're like, what the hell is this? Like, things have never been this way before. What's going on? Like, what did I do? My opinion is like, we can talk about this at length if you want. But just to start out, just to
Yeah.
contextualize where I'm thinking from, and I don't remember your previous calls, so maybe it's helpful, maybe or maybe not. It's helpful to go into the previous calls. Maybe it's better to just plunge forward. I don't know. It's up to you. But I
Well,
don't remember.
yeah, either way. Either way is fine. But I guess you said something to me that you used the word that you used in the first call that I had with you. It was it was back. It was. I don't want to like give away. I don't know why I worry. I feel like I worry a little bit too much. Where I'm like, somebody's gonna try to listen to the past calls and put all together. I know it's anonymous, so
It's understandable. It's totally up to you.
That.
It's totally up to you. It's understandable. Totally up to you.
Yeah, I think I just, like you said, autonomy, and that was something that we talked about, like how that's important, and to have like your autonomy over yourself. Obviously, that's what it means. Like power, like power over oneself. That's fair to say? I guess I don't know if that's like an exact definition, but I just want to make sure I'm on the same page.
Yeah, Easy Cheesy, one of our mods has a question that seems to be on this point. They say to you, would you say that you invalidate your own need to be supported?
Invalidate my own need to be supported. Yes and no. But mostly no. And I wanted to say first, I'm just like mostly no because I more so validate my need for support because I'm kind of recently I've been the only one doing that for myself. Like, I mean, I would hear support from my friends, but like on the regular and just like just with like little things, I've been the one like validating the need. Like everyone needs support sometimes. Like it's not just me.
Right.
It's So I more so validate it. But it's still, I do have the moments where I don't validate it, and I sort of think that, since since boundaries have been set, I don't know, against me, I guess in a way, because it's like something I don't want. Those, like it's hard to know like what to do because it's so weird because sometimes I'll be like, well, I know the answer, and the answer is to focus on myself, but I just honestly think like if my family can't love me, like well maybe it's true, just to get really sad, but I'm okay. But I believe that sometimes, and I have to fight out of that, and I take I'm trying to say like I'm grateful for the people that are helping me. I know I deserve that because everyone deserves that. Everyone deserves to be helped if they need it, and I'm grateful for that. I just am like it's hard to know like what to focus on when I'm really really stuck and just feeling sorry for myself. Just to be honest, like I'm feeling sad for myself and sorry for myself that I'm in a bad situation, and I'm not always like that, like, but the times that I'm like that, it gets hard. And to be alone in it most of the time is, lonely, obviously. But it's also like it's hard for me to like completely try to find that somewhere else, because I feel like it's not the same if it's not like my actual family. Like my family, it only really consists of my siblings right now, and none of them are close with me at this point. I feel like the only one that I have a chance of being close with, and where it might be okay, is my 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 brother, my younger brother. I have an older brother too, but um, my younger brother, I feel like I might have a better chance at like just at least maintaining some sort of like relationship connection that we're talking with one another. Excuse me, it's mumbled. But at least talking with one another and knowing what's going on in each other's lives, like that. Like even
Right.
if it was just talking. Um, but it's like it's hard for me to put effort into that when I don't get any response, which is pretty much what's happening now. Is I don't know if a month is a long time, but that's how long it's been since she's talked to me. And like just um I honestly it's that quote. I'm thinking about the quote that you said earlier, and how it had said something to do about respect, like respecting how someone else wants to be treated, and that they're enforcing how they want to be treated. And
Well, it's
that's the
actually
part that
it's a personal
um
quote. It has nothing to
mhm.
do with other people. It's a personal quote, but I'm asking you to extend it to the
Okay.
people that you love. It says that you teach people how to treat you by what you allow.
Yeah. Right. I guess I don't know what my sister's trying to teach me though. I don't know if that's the question that's on my mind. It's like I don't know what she wants to enforce, That's the and I don't know if I'm misunderstanding something and taking it in a way that not usual or something, but um
Yeah, can I make one uh can I make one statement about something, because I want to be very careful, and then can I ask a question?
yeah. Yeah, of course.
My statement is that I have no doubt your family loves you because they're biologically related to you. We can't help but love the people we're biologically related to. You know, even let's take an extreme case. Let's take Michael Jackson. That's somebody pretty much everybody knows of. Michael Jackson. This is not a hot take. Some people might think it is, uh, but Michael Jackson is arguably so well known because he was beat into perfection. Now, this is like, let me clarify that. I'm not saying that people should beat their kids into perfection such that they become international sensations, but Michael Jackson was
Right.
beat. He was beaten by by his dad, when he didn't have a perfect performance. And like he cited this as the reason that he became such a sensational performer, because he was beaten into perfection. Um, and he was amazing. He was amazing when he was 6 years old, singing ABC 1 2 3. Like that was before the days of autotune. Listen to that vocal track; it's perfect. Like it's like pitch perfect. Like give me a break. You know,
Yeah.
like the point is
All that
that
talent too. Wow.
right.
Yeah.
The point is I have no doubt that Michael Jackson's dad loved him, even though he beat him into submission. Was that fair for
Mm.
Michael Jackson? No.
No. Yeah. Obviously
But did his dad
not.
love him? I'm sure he did. I mean, he must have. They were biological. Like, how does one overcome that biological impulse? How does anyone not love someone they're
Um,
blood related to,
yeah.
even if
I
they have
would
serious
I would
problems with them?
say um I was I guess like to like, um, it's, well, I guess I hope I'm not. I want to make sure I understand, like, I guess, like the reasoning behind bringing that up, because it's interesting, I guess. Like, I don't know if that was like how the, because I haven't read like articles about this recently or anything like that, so I don't know if that's how they explained it when they said like beat to perfection. Because it kind of, it makes me think like that I want I want
I'm
the
not saying you were
version of
beaten. I don't know
that.
your story. I used a
Right,
loud
right, right.
example. I used a loud example to make a
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Well, I guess what I'm thinking is that like I would want that to happen, but not, not beating. Like, what's the nice way to do that? Because I do want to be good. I want to be respectful. I want to, be
That's a good
just a
question.
genuinely good person. Yeah, like, and
I think
so
that's a
I
good
have
question.
that intention to be good. I just don't know how to apply it for the person I'm thinking of, my sister. And I know I need to like let it go, but obviously I'm like, I can't. Like, I keep thinking about it. It takes over my day sometimes, and like even earlier today, just something like pops into my mind about her, and I'll be like,
Hmm.
okay, it's time to hyperventilate while walking through the store. Everything is fine because you're thinking about someone that is just not ready to think about you. Just for me to be able to say it out loud.
Where
That's,
do you fall in the
I
birth
think,
order? I really hope you don't resent me for asking that question.
I don't know. I am the second oldest, as there's four.
Wow.
So,
A 4, second of 4. Interesting.
yeah. Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know if I'm a middle child or not.
Right. Yeah, that's what
It's
I'm
like,
saying is
I,
interesting. You're like,
I
you're
guess
kind
I
of the
was the
oldest, but you're
first
also kind of
middle
the middle.
child.
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was the
you're the
first middle
first middle
child.
child.
And
Right. That's interesting. Yeah.
and then they
Interesting.
added the second one, and then me and my sister became into competition. No, that's a joke. But we were both the middle. Like, we were the middle. She's third oldest. And so we, like, growing up, we were like so close, best friends. Like,
Right.
I hung out with all her friends, and so I was hanging out with like people uh a little bit younger than me. I don't. Yeah, she's only like, we were 3 years different. Um, so but we were just always best friends. But even it was like I don't know. I see videos about like relationships, sister relationships, where it's like they're fighting and they have to be like quiet about it so they don't like get in trouble. It's like we didn't keep our fights to ourselves and settle our fights with ourselves. So like,
Right.
I don't know. And so like just, I'm like I get
It's
so
pretty
like
woke.
um yeah I get like I miss that. I miss that we have. Well, I guess it's fine. Like, I reminisce about those times, but then I think about all the time. Like, if she was okay with me being just kind of in her life, all the like ways that we would be communicating with each other now. And I'm like, we could, it's like, it's just, I don't know, bothers me. But
Is it possible that your sister that you're going through this with is going through something in her own life that is prohibiting her from empathizing with you?
I mean, I've thought about that before. If she is, I don't know about it specifically. Like, she's never actually told me that something is going on.
She
But
doesn't
she
have
has,
to.
like, yeah, you're right. She does.
That's the grace we're talking about.
I would hope that she would, though. I've told her that before.
Well, again, we teach
That
people how to treat us based on what we allow, and maybe we have to like, again, like, this is a difficult truth. I'm not saying that I'm right, but I am saying that um, Like, I'm not saying that you are a problem. In other words, I'm not saying you're a problem child or a problem sibling. But if your sister is not being forthcoming with something, if you feel you don't have all the answers, then prying for the answers is only going to do more harm than good, probably. So, I would pose it as a question: is there a better way to get what you feel you need from the relationship, the intimacy you're after in the relationship? Is there a better thing you're after than to give your sister what it seems like she wants? Give her the privacy she wants. Give her the distance she wants. Show her what that looks like. Teach her how you want to be treated by what you will allow. Give her a taste of her own medicine. I'm not even saying you do it spitefully. Don't do it spitefully. That would be to disrespect the entire quote. But like to honor what she's been forthcoming with, even if it's nothing, for a time.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I don't wish that I can do that, but I wish that I could do that in a way. Just literally not talk to her. But there is, I mean, I haven't mentioned this yet, but there's there's like a financial thing going on too that also connects us to the point where we kind of have to communicate about that. And the lack of communication is affecting that too. So that is, again, I don't need to, I guess, get into that, but I don't know if it's helpful to like explain the context, but yeah.
Well,
I don't know if I answered your question. I know you asked me a question. I'm sorry if I didn't answer it. But.
No, it's okay. I'm here. I'm not here to receive answers for questions. I'm here to just listen. I don't know what the answers are in your case. I'm just trying to pose to you that maybe if you're meeting resistance, I mean, it's just a personal philosophy I have. I'm not claiming to be right, but you're asking, and my personal philosophy is that if I'm even in my most closest relationships, if somebody expresses even a hint of a boundary, I just honor it. Even in non-intimate boundaries, like for example, I've had people working for me that I don't know that well that have just quit certain jobs or left certain positions. And if people do that, I just trust that they needed to do it. And at some point I reach out and I say, hey, I hope you're okay. Hope everything's cool. I hope I hope you and I are okay personally. Like, I respect you have personal needs that I don't understand. I'm cool with you. I hope you're cool with me. I'm here and I respect you. We don't know what everybody's going through because we only live one life. We only get one life. We get our life. We don't get our brother or sister's lives. We don't get our friends' lives. We don't get our parents' lives. So a lot of trust, a lot of respect is owed. That's respect. That's just what I think.
Yeah. That is something I have to just figure out, how to apply that. Because I know, like, if I could compare it to math, I don't know. Wait, no, never mind. Why did I even try to do that? I'm so sorry.
If you could come up with a mathematical equation for that, you might solve world peace.
Why? Yeah, you're right. Maybe that's what I should spend my time doing.
Oh my gosh, that deserves. That's where's my actual laugh? There's the laugh. That's the laugh I was like. I did the evil laugh. There's the laugh I was looking for. That was a great joke. Yeah, yeah. If you can
Thank
solve that,
you.
that's world peace.
I'll
That's a great joke.
be here 3 weeks from now. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm done. No.
I'll be here 3 weeks from now. That deserves a second laugh.
Thank you. I appreciate
That's
that.
amazing.
Thank you.
I'll be here 3 weeks from now. That's so...
Yeah, humor is how I cope.
Yeah, humor is a great tool. You know, honestly, humor can bridge a lot of gaps in relationships too. So
yeah, I don't know, but I think that laughing is what I needed because I just had like a positive like moment where it's like I can't wait. Like if I cannot wait 10 years from now where I'm going to have a relationship with my sister again, and we literally are just gonna laugh about this. And we're gonna watch this exact live stream. Like, remember back in the day when I had to call Julian Smith about how he wouldn't talk to me, but now we're okay. Everything's fine. Yeah, you pass the ketchup, please. Thank you. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Yeah, that's what I think I just need to do is be as distant as possible. And yeah. Thank you for helping me realize that. I don't know if you realized how like I didn't even know that I was gonna have that like realization. I'm kind of surprised. But thanks.
well, I don't know what I gave you. I hope it was useful to you. I appreciated you sharing the way you did, and you're welcome to call here anytime. You've called 5 times, so maybe wait a few weeks at least before you call back.
Yeah,
that was a joke. That was a joke. On average, you would have waited at least once every 5 weeks. So there's no limit. You can call anybody here can call anytime. That was just a joke. But yeah, I mean, you raise a lot of interesting, deep questions like how do we respect the boundaries of others? It's a very real conundrum. It's challenging. I'm not saying it's easy. Have we? I do. We do need to. We do need to open the lines to other callers, especially since you're a return caller, and it sounds like we've talked a bunch, and there's a lot of people who've been trying to call in for a long time that haven't gotten to share here with the chat and me. So it's no disrespect. I hope you understand. I'm just trying to make this. I'm trying to be a diplomat.
No,
but
that
the
is completely understanding. No worries.
But have we talked about Belarus Napperstack? Have you used that resource?
Belarus, no.
We haven't talked about Belarus Napperstack. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the chat for you. I highly recommend this, especially based on what you're sharing.
Familiar.
Belarus Napperstack. I'm putting this in the chat for you. Give me a second. Belarus Napperstack is a author, psychotherapist. She does these amazing guided meditations. Her company is called Health Journeys. These are guided imagery meditations that are unbelievable. You can buy one of them. She has like over 50 of these. I want to say she has between 50, maybe over 100. I don't know, but it's between like 50 and roughly 100 of these guided imagery meditations that are theme based on certain topics. She has some based on anger and forgiveness. She has some on easing pain. She has some on anxiety and panic. She has one on successful surgery, which cracks me up every time I see it. But it's like it must work because it's on the front page of her website, like accepting that you're going to go into some traumatic experience. Like maybe there's something to it. But the point is, like, I believe in meditation. I believe in accepting the things we cannot change. This is the Serenity Prayer, for crying out loud, which is what gets quoted in Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and whatnot. So anyways, Health Journeys, Belarus Napperstack, she's amazing. You can use her guided meditations. I have used one of them up to 100 times at least, and they never get old. You can use them as much as you want, and they just never get old. Work it into your daily routine. They never get old. I'm putting this in the chat for you. Belarus Napperstack. They're not free, but they are not expensive. There's probably some, let's see, I'm trying not to put typos in here for you, but there probably are some. There you go. It's in there. In the chat for you. but these are anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour long, and they're anywhere from $6 to $12, sorry, $14, depending on the length. But they're yours forever. You don't have to ever, it's not like a subscription. It's like, it's once you buy one, it's yours. And these, like I said, like these can be good for like up to, I've used one up to like probably over 100 times. And these are amazing. Work it into your daily routine. And I would maybe go browse through her library and see if there's something in there that seems relevant to your situation. And maybe you can just meditate on what it is you're struggling with your sibling. And maybe that can be enough for you for the time being.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into that. Meditation. I completely agree with what you said about that. And thank you again for your time, for listening, and for laughing with me. And I'll let you get to the other callers.
Thanks for calling
have a good
and
night.
sharing.
Thank you.
It's a difficult thing you're going through. I hate to. I don't want to make you feel like we're pushing you off the line here, but there's a bunch of calls coming in, and
Yeah, no
you were the
worries.
one
I
that
don't
mentioned
feel that way at all.
you were the one that mentioned we've talked a bunch of
Yeah.
times, so trying to just keep this
Yeah.
diplomatic. But you know, call again anytime. Seriously, don't let this like. I want to hear a good update, so please call again anytime, and I'm wishing you the best.
Wishing you the best too. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Good night. All right, chat. We are going to get to one more call tonight. We got about 25 minutes left in this stream. If I could ask for a restroom break, I think this is the first time I've gone on record asking for a restroom break. I would like 60 seconds to go take a leak. I almost hit the rim shot there, but it's not even a joke. I just want to go take a leak. So I'm going to go, to put it bluntly, I'm going to go to the restroom, and I'll be right back in 60 seconds. I'll go 60 seconds over, and yeah, and we'll be good. So if you guys can hold that thought, I see some calls coming in. Give me 60 seconds. I'll be right back, and you can just imagine me peeing, whatever you think that looks like. I'll be back. Okay, we are back. Thank you guys for waiting. And we're going to dive right back in. Hello, thanks for calling.
Hey, Julian.
Hello. How are you tonight?
Oh, thank you for asking. I'm okay. You know, like, I'm just laying here with my cat, just kind of chilling,
Oh,
but
what kind of cat do you have?
oh my gosh, he is a tabby.
Oh, I love tabbies. I'm a cat person. Cats are.
Oh
Did you? If I can begin with a trifle, can I begin with a trifle?
yes, Julian.
Did you know this is a hot take, but you can look
Okay,
it up. The
okay.
IQ of cat people is higher
hmm
than that of dog people. True story.
OMG, Julian, stop lying.
Look it up. Look it up.
Gonna
At
look
me
it
if
up
you
right
have
now.
at me if you have problems with that. I'm willing to be wrong, but at me if you have problems with that. That is what I understand to be true. Sorry, chat. I'm really sorry, chat.
Sorry.
But but there's a reasonable explanation. Again, I'm starting with a trifle, admittedly, but it makes perfect sense, arguably, because dogs
It
are much
does.
more emotional,
We,
so they need less. So therefore, it takes more to give to a cat emotionally. That's just
wow.
that part is my interpretation of the stat. But there is a stat that says that. I'm sorry, Chad.
Yes,
I'm
no,
sorry. I'm really sorry, Chad. I'm really sorry I said that. But it seems to be true.
it's true. No, Chad, it's true. I mean, no, for real. I'm reading it right now, Julian, and it's the facts. It's the whole fact and nothing but the facts.
Well, at least we have the same Google algorithms.
Yes, it does take a lot, I love my son, Julian, and this is my baby. I just recently got him July 31st. And he's so sweet, but you know how your animal is adapts to you because you're their human. So they're gonna take on like your personality kind of and you're just your energy. And I just love my cat Julian because he's so calm and he willingly comes to sleep with me every night. Like I kid you not, like I couldn't like sleep without him if I tried. And you're right, and you're so right. You just made me feel really good about myself.
Well, hey, it's not my work. I'm just here blabbering shit I've read. That's what I'm here to do. Maybe I'm wrong. At me if you have a problem. Anyways,
Yeah.
can we start with your age and what's the reason for your call? I'm glad to hear you starting off with some laughter, but you call for a reason. Can we start with your age and then the reason for the call?
Yes, sir. Okay, so I'm 20, newly July 9th. I just turned 20.
Congrats, that's a
And
big one.
yes, thank you so much. Thank you. I love that. It's so beautiful.
Life gets harder. I will warn you, life gets harder.
Weird.
I hate to tell you that.
Oh, you know what?
But you called in here, so just being real.
Yes. But my reason for calling is because I am going through a very difficult mentally and emotionally, and I would even say physically because I'm a very emotional person, and it's draining physically after a while. You're more tired, especially if you're crying more. But my problem is specifically in the arena of my romantic life.
Okay.
Yeah, so
What's going on?
It's hard because there's this guy, and we dated for about 4 months. We met in April of this year, and we just recently stopped talking, and but the way it ended for me, Julian, I'm really hurt because our last big argument was bad. Like, we both said some things to each other that was just disrespectful and out of the way, but he said some things to me, Julian, and looking back at it, Is it okay for me to curse, Julian?
The floor is yours. Whatever you want.
Thank you. Okay,
Nope.
okay. I love this person. But Julian, he said some stuff to me that I just thought it was bullshit. Like, 1 minute, and see, that's why I say this is draining me, because 1 minute I'm ready to burst into tears, and the next minute I'm so angry. I feel like I want to, like, I just want to fight. Like, I don't know, like, I feel like he's a hypocrite, and I feel like he basically, I've been praying on it too, because I'm asking God, like, is this man really just pushing me away? Because I'm an empath, and I pride myself on being very empathetic towards other human beings.
You must be an empath if you love your cat. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm really sorry. The floor is still yours. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry.
Too funny.
There was too many. There was too much resistance in the chat. I couldn't resist that joke.
You did that, Julian. You're right. But I really am, and I truly care. Even when, and this is something I know about myself, because even when I'm angry, even when I'm hurt, I still genuinely care. I can't speak on another person as if I know what's in their head and what's in their emotions, but I feel like other people can be selfish when they're angry or when they're sad. They're like, no, fuck everything else, fuck everybody else. This is how I feel in this moment, so fuck everybody else. But me, even when I am feeling a certain way, I still like to take others' feelings into accountability. And the whole time we were together, this man was sweet, and he was doing everything right. He wasn't abusive in any way. I was actually generally happy until towards the end, because I feel like he just stopped trying. I feel like he felt like, oh, I got her, so I don't have to put in as much effort, or so I don't have to continue to just be a good man towards her because she's just going to stay. But I feel like this man has some problems expressing his emotions to not even just other people, to himself. I feel like he doesn't have as strong of an emotional relationship with himself as me. I can't say with anybody else because I'm just speaking on our relationship, but I noticed certain things. Like, I feel like, I don't want to say men in general can't healthily express their emotions and they can't find resolutions and they can't be vulnerable, especially with their partners or anybody in general. I can't say that about all men, but for him, I noticed that, like, when we would start, he was reluctant to get super deep and emotional, like have conversations where we're both open and we're vulnerable and we can truly strip, naked metaphorically, and we can talk about the heavy stuff. I feel like he was being very, I feel like he was being positive, but in a negative way. I'm trying to explain it good. It's like if I want to just come to you and I want to vent and I want to cry on your shoulder, as my boyfriend, I should be able to do that. But every time if I want to come to you and I want to do that, and you always deflect it and be like, no, don't be sad. It's okay. Be happy. Be positive. Smile. And, it gets better, and, God is on it. I know all these things, okay? I don't need you to always give me a rundown of all these things every time I want to come to you, and I just want to be emotionally raw. And I feel like that's a sign that you're not comfortable getting in that space. And I don't know if it's because it's just me, you don't want to do it with me. I don't know if in your other relationships you did it with those women, or what it is, or I don't know if you just have issues being, emotionally available. But Julian, some of the things he said to me before we broke up, I'm like, listening to this man, I'm like, but that's hypocritical, because all these problems that you're saying that you have now, and all these things that you have an issue with that you're saying now, when we were together, you never said these things to me. So I feel like you're a liar, because if you really had all these issues, then you would have been a man, and you would have been, while we were together, you'd have been like, listen, I have a problem with A, B, C, and D, and I want us to come to a resolution. Not that I want you to change who you are or anything, but I want you to be aware these are things that are making me unhappy and things that I don't like. But he never said that until we basically broke up. And, Julian, it really hurt me because right now I feel played. I feel like he played me. And I feel like basically he lied to me the whole time. I mean, 4 months isn't a super long time, but it's long enough, especially when you were genuine with the person. Like, I gave him genuine everything, Julian. Like, I gave him my time. I gave him my emotions. I gave him my ear. Like, I was always telling him he could talk to me, and I was always listening. I'm not saying I was just perfect, because I do know how to take accountability. I do, and I'm not saying I didn't do things that were wrong. But when I had a problem, I was woman enough, because I actually valued the relationship. I came to him and I was like, this is a problem that I have. How can we fix it together? But how am I going to know, Julian, if he has a problem, if he doesn't say it until the end? I basically feel like he just threw that in my face, because he was like, okay, and this is just one more thing why I'm finna be done talking to you. And I just feel like, is this because he really is done talking to me, or is this because he's pushing me away because he's scared that being with me is gonna make it harder for him to keep avoiding that deep, emotional, that deep emotional stuff. And I'm not saying everyone has the same level of emotions and everybody thinks and feels the same, but I'm just saying when you're in a relationship, Julian, aren't you supposed to make aren't you supposed to what's that word? Not make compromises, but what's that word?
Concessions?
Yes, Julian. Aren't you supposed to do that in a relationship? Aren't you supposed to at least hear your partner out and give them the opportunity to speak on it, instead of trying to like race past it and just make them basically stop talking about it and say anything just because you don't want to talk about it? Isn't that like rude?
Let's get into that. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned several things. So let me start by saying it sounds like you're really heartbroken over this. I hear that in your voice. It sounds like you're really I don't hear the voice of justice or vengeance here.
Yes.
I hear the voice of heartbreak. I hear that you're really distraught over this and you're confused.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, it is.
You don't sound angry, in other words. You sound, to my ear anyway, you sound like you're really like you've been wrestling with this.
Yes, I have. Yes, sir.
You don't have to call me sir. I'm just Julian.
Oh,
but I appreciate it.
It's natural.
You're 20. You can call me whatever you want. If you were 50, you could call me whatever you want. You could call me a jackass. I'd respond to it. Not even a joke. In fact, I've responded to such terms respectively. But let's. What I wanted to ask is like, are you? I did sense.
Yes.
At least. Now, hear me out when I say this, because I'm not trying to nitpick your story apart. But it did sound like there may be some jealousy at play, because you asked earlier, about 5 minutes ago, you mentioned the possibility that your partner was expressing themselves emotionally with previous partners, and is it just that they couldn't do it with you?
Yes.
So is there a part of you that's jealous?
You know what, Julian? You know what? Honestly, I be trying to like fight it, but I know I can't fight it forever, and I gotta first come to terms with things myself, and I gotta genuinely acknowledge and accept them to move past them and heal. But yes, Julian, it's jealousy, and it's crazy because like this man, Well, I would ask him about his past relationships because I feel like we should be transparent with each other. We should be able to talk about anything. We're together. He would just kind of blow it off, and not like he's blowing the other women off, but like he would literally blow it off like he doesn't want to talk about that. And I'm not asking you to go and reminisce and all that. I'm just asking you to open up about it. But yes, that created a lot of jealousy. And then also before, when I was saying like, okay, so if you won't talk about it, then you leave. Why would you want to leave it open for me in my mind to just think anything? Now my mind is wandering. Now I'm thinking, oh, you don't want to talk about it because I'm right, and you don't want to, admit that, yeah, like I was open with these other women, and I'm not going to give you that luxury, like making me feel less than or like I don't deserve that. And I know I'm a gorgeous woman, and I know any man would be blessed to have me as a partner. So no man is going to make me feel less than or dim my self-worth down. I love myself, and it doesn't even matter if a man doesn't see that in me, because I see that in myself first. When I look in the mirror, I'm happy with what I see. But yes, Julian, I had a lot of jealousy, and the shit makes me so mad, though. That part makes me mad, because it's like, that's fucked up. I have jealousy about people that I haven't even heard anything about yet, that you haven't even spoken to me about yet, about situations that are maybe fictional, that it's just because in my mind I don't know what else to think, and you not giving me what I need, and you making me feel like crazy. So yes, I was jealous. Like, okay, if this other bitch, does she, when you was with her, was you emotionally available for her? Was she able to cry on your shoulder and shit and all that? Was she able to just let it release without you stopping her in her tracks and trying to revert her back and like get her back on the rainbow? Sometimes you just need to cry and release. Sometimes you don't want to be fucking happy. And if you have a boyfriend, you should be able to have that opportunity, and then after he lets you cry and let it out, and then as your man, you should be like, okay, now let's try to do something to get your mind off of it. Let's try to do something positive. Let's try to revert this energy and make it go up, because nobody that claims to love you or care about you should want to see you in pain. But pain is a part of life. It's necessary and it's natural. So you can't just like, it's natural. But yes, Julian, like, you hit it on the nose. It makes me mad because I was jealous. But the crazy shit is, again, it's like I'm jealous.
I'm not trying to inflame you. I'm not trying to get you upset at yourself. Just to be clear, there's no shame in jealousy. Everybody gets jealous. There's several great books on jealousy. Jealousy is a natural response to things like that. What you feel is, in my opinion, natural. So I'm not asking, I'm not saying like you were in the wrong to be jealous, but it is, in my opinion at least, good to know if we are feeling jealous in a situation like that. There's the thing that came in from the chat. Let me see here. From Katniss 1912, they say to you, I think it's a society thing that men are told to cover it up, that it's a weakness to cry. I think it's important. I think it's important to just let them know that you want them to be open, like you said.
You're right. Yes.
That was from Katniss 1912.
Thank you. She said what her name was, Julian. Missy Katniss 12?
Katniss 1912, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Missy Katniss 1912. That was actually very beautiful. I appreciated that comment. But Julian, I did tell him this.
Well, that doesn't mean he's obligated to respond the way you want him to. That's the unfortunate part.
Yes. I expressed this to him multiple times, and I had so many different approaches, and I wasn't being judgmental. I wasn't being harsh, and I know it for a fact because I was watching, because I already had so much intense emotion about it. I knew I had to watch how I presented it to him. because I didn't want to disrespect him or make him feel away. Because once again, even though I was feeling away, I always taking his feelings into accountability, and I'm just expressing it like, basically, bro, I'm not happy. You're making me feel weird. You're making me feel like you don't deem me worthy of your emotional availability. And he wasn't, and I want to disclaim again, because I don't want to just completely, throw salt on him, because he wasn't horrible. He wasn't completely, and I mean like flatline emotionally unavailable. He was just, in other words, Julian, he was like cold and harsh at times. Even when he was being, even when he was present, it was like I was talking, and his responses, I feel like, were just so like dull and cold. I felt like you don't have. Where's your, like, where's your compassion? Where's your and I saying it right, like enthusiasm?
He had no. Did he have no empathy? Was he empathetic at all?
At times he was empathetic, but at times he really wasn't, Julie. I'm not gonna lie. I know what
percentage
I felt
of the time was he not empathetic? Was he not empathetic enough most of the time?
Yes, Julian, yes.
Have you ever considered that maybe you're dealing with some kind of psychopath or sociopath?
Honestly, Julian, after about a week after I completely stopped all communication, like blocked him and deleted his number and everything, I couldn't get it off my mind, no matter how much I tried to ignore it. But yeah, that has crossed my mind. But see, Julian, that goes back to when I was saying it crossed my mind, but that's when my empath kicked in, because I was scared for him. I was like, is something, and not in a bad way, not saying that it.
You thought you could make him better.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
You thought you could help heal him.
Yes, Julie. Yes.
Don't let me ask leading questions. Don't tell me I'm on the nose if I'm not. But like, that's my guess based on what you're saying. I'm trying to expedite some things.
Yes. No. You're right about that. I did think.
I know what that feels like.
You do?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Family members, bosses, clients, friends, people I'm dating. Yeah, I know what that feels like.
See, Julian, and it's so hard because a part of you feels like you can and you care about that person. But Julian, first off, I love myself and I put myself first. I'm not gonna compromise my mental and emotional health because I think I can save someone from something that I don't even know if it exists or not. Just off of the way he acts and what he presented to me, Julian, what I saw and what I felt, I do feel like, and this is coming from a place of non-judgment and in all care and honestly love, that he has some problem, something is wrong, and he hasn't even admitted it to himself. And I just don't want him to go on in his life not even acknowledging it to himself, because I do genuinely care about him, Julian. And even if we're not together, I want him to live his life to the fullest and he'll live his best life. But I don't feel he can do that if he has an underlying either mental problem or if he has some trauma that he hasn't healed from, because the lack of empathy was just crazy. Because it was also crazy, Julian, but then he would turn around and be like, I do care for you and all this stuff. And I'm like, but you see, you're just saying those words, but I'm telling you what I'm getting from you energetically, I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling it, not at all, but I'm not feeling that as much as I should, and that's disturbing to me. You see what I'm saying, Julian?
I do, yeah. No, I do believe that in a lot of cases, at least, and now hear me out, I'm saying in a lot of cases at least, I'm not saying all the time, that it's normal for men and women and all kinds of people to need different things from kinds of relationships. This is why people date around, and this is why it takes a long time for people to find themselves in a good long-term relationship, because people have to date for many years to find a suitable long-term partner. That is to say, you're not going to meet your forever sweetheart. Let me reframe it. The odds that you will meet your forever sweetheart when you're 14 are very slim. You know, so like you have to go through a lot of muck and mire to find that person. Sometimes you have to be married to someone for a long time. Sometimes you have to be married and have kids with someone to find that out to be true. And you know, you're lucky you didn't have kids with this person, or at least it sounds like you didn't. So I'm just mentioning some silver linings here. But the point is that, you know, this gets it back at the thing that Katniss 1912 said earlier, that, like, you know, the things that it's unfair, right? Like the things that guys are raised with in society, the things that girls are raised with in society, it's completely unfair. Like the sweeping generalizations that we're raised with in society are vastly unfair. Insane. Vastly insane. So, I mean, they're not entirely insane, but a lot of it's insane, especially when it comes to dating someone, especially when it comes to our expectations, especially so when it comes to our 21st century world, where most people are meeting each other on dating apps, and we're meeting each other in person, having read about each other like a piece of meat in an advertisement that's on sale at Kroger or Ralph's or Publix or what's in the Northeast, Tops, and trying to think of some Northeastern grocery chains. I used Best Way. You know, I'm trying to think of some other ones. You know, like it's like you're reading about these people on an app, and it's like, hey, I'm on sale. I'm 50% off. And then you meet them in person, and you're disappointed. It's like, yeah, it was the manager's special. They're expiring tomorrow. I'm resisting hitting the rim shot because it's not even a joke. It's true. You know, the point is, like, it's so hard to meet somebody today.
It'd be crazy.
It's crazy.
But
yeah,
you know the crazy thing is, Julian?
What's that?
You know the craziest thing? Oh my God, Julian, I met this man in Walmart, man. And when I say met, well,
on sale?
I have to specify?
In the meat department?
No, Julian, it's crazy. I was in the
You met him in the pants department, half off, 50%. Sorry, that was 3 jokes in a row. I'm really sorry. I'm listening.
That's too much. No, I met him in the beauty department. I was getting leave-in conditioner. And
that was almost my joke.
It's so bad.
Oh gosh.
And he approached me, Julian. I mean, the man, I didn't approach him. He approached me. And it was like one of those things where, you know, somebody gives you a look and then they look you up and down and then they make eye contact with you and then they walk away. And you think,
that's the worst one. That's the worst one.
That's the worst one, Julian.
Yeah, if a guy looks you up and down, don't take their number.
He was cute.
Yeah, that's the problem. Here's another thing. Most narcissists are very attractive.
Oh, shit.
There are very few unattractive narcissists.
Damn, you're right too.
I'm just reporting the work of people I've read. This is not my work. I try to go out of my way to make that explicit, but like I'm reporting the work of people like Dr. Ramani Durvasula and Jackson McKenzie, who's not a doctor in anything, but has written Psychopath Free. This is an amazing resource, and there's others that I could cite, but you know, I won't belabor the point. Like this isn't my work. I'm just regurgitating things that I've heard. I mean, like it makes sense. Like,
yeah.
Have you ever heard of like take 50 Shades of Grey? The guy I can't remember, I haven't even seen it or read it, but the guy who's the lead guy in 50 Shades of Grey, I think his name is Christian Grey or something. Like, is that Is that guy unattractive? No, he's beautiful. Allegedly,
Fine.
reportedly, he's reportedly fine. So like, I mean, it's just a book, but like the archetypes are written around these things. So it's just a, you know, that's the point. Like, have you ever heard of an unattractive narcissist? They would not be procreating. There would be no narcissists. So like, it's much easier to be a narcissist if you're attractive than it is to be if you're unattractive. Yeah, I don't know. Like I've said a lot of hot takes. Some of these are jokes. You know, I've tried to be clear where I've tried to be very clear where I'm joking, but you know, like a lot of people who like scanning someone up and down, like, and then like I don't know, like sometimes it's inadvertent. Sometimes it's inadvertent. Let me be very clear on my stance on this. Sometimes it's inadvertent. Sometimes like you have the part of your brain that's called the tectum, and it's a part of your brain that like goes towards attention grabbing things, and sometimes you can't help where you look. So like if you hear something, like if you hear a gunshot to your left, like your head, you don't even, it's a reflex. You don't even have control of it. Your head's going to go to the left because of your tectum. So like sometimes, you know, I'm not saying like anytime anybody looks you up and down, let me be very clear. When I said that was like 50% a joke. But like in this case, it seemed like you didn't meet somebody that was a healthy partner.
You're right. You're right. And you know, I've been pondering on that too, because it can be hard to accept that. It can be hard to really acknowledge it as well. He may not. I gotta sit back and say, Ma, you know, he may have been handsome. He may have said all the right things in this moment. In that moment, he may have, you know, done all the right things that you felt were the right things. But in the reality of the real life, you know, he's most likely not. He is not a healthy partner material. He's not the man for you, and he's got his toxic ways, and just because he's not healthy doesn't mean he's a horrible person. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have a chance at redemption. Well, not even just for me, but just for himself, because who wants to be a toxic, negative human being? I mean,
Narcissists can't help it.
Oh shoot, they can't they?
They have like that's the thing about, again, I'm just reporting things I've read. It's not my work, but the narcissists can't. This is why it's called a disorder. They have a disorderly brain. They literally have no control over it. It doesn't matter about what they want. It's not what they want. In fact, maybe they want to be different, but they can't be.
Because it's just something they can't control. They were born.
As far as I understand it, you could liken it to brain damage.
I mean, but it can come from trauma.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying like they got hit in the head with something. I'm saying like, you know, that's like suffice to say they have a dysfunctional prefrontal cortex, and they're stuck in their reptile brain. They're stuck in survival mode. They don't think about collaboration. They don't think about empathy. They can't think about cooperation or being good. Like they're stuck. I mean, reptiles eat their own kids. You know, it's not a pleasant thought. They eat their own mates. In fact, a lot of bugs eat their own mates after they procreate. A lot of spiders eat their own mates after they procreate. It's mostly women that do that. Like it's mostly women that do this. Actually, it's kind of funny. They'll like procreate with a male and then they'll eat the male. It's kind of funny.
That's true.
But the point is like, man, I'm blabbering a lot, but it's a valid point that like the point is actually a good one. It's an altruistic one that like these people, like, this is what I was getting at earlier. I don't know if you were here for the first caller who was dealing with what they thought to be some kind of narcissist, but like this is why I took some time after that call to say that narcissism and psychopathy and sociopathy in general is a tragedy. A lot of people like to hate on these people. A lot of people like to hate on people like Amber Heard. I'm mentioning Amber Heard. I really hate mentioning people like Amber Heard because it's always like very inflammatory in the chat. But I hope everybody understands. Like when I invoke the name of Amber Heard, I'm not looking for a debate. I'm just simply saying like the way that most people come at these debates is not healthy, because we have to acknowledge that these people can't do anything differently. And it's sad. It's not anger inducing. What do you expect? It's sad. What else do you expect them to do? It's sad.
See?
What are we supposed to do?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to be very clear about that.
It is. You're right. No, I feel like I'm definitely. I overstand what you're saying, and that is a very valid point, like you said. But what you said is super resonating with me right now, because it is sad how people approach, say, the Amber Heard situation, as you used for the example, because clearly this woman has a problem, and instead of having empathy first, and saying like she may need, she most likely needs help, something is, who knows what she's been through in her life, you're just reverting to, I hate her and she's a horrible person. Like, it's just, to me, it's just too negative. It's disturbing. But I understand what you're saying 1,000%. I don't feel like that's the best way. I don't like when people approach situations like that either, because it's like, stop, have empathy first. And then if you want to be mad, and then if you want to talk, negatively, and then if, you want to, it's human, but don't start with that, and don't just continue on and on and on, and, never ever stop and say, well, this person may be struggling with a mental disorder. Like, come on now.
That's right. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with somebody who's nonverbal autistic? Are you going to expect them to speak eloquent English? No, we don't expect this of people who are nonverbal autistic. It's not even a joke. It's serious. Like, how else are we going to treat people that have a mental disorder of bipolar or BPD or narcissism or ASPD or any of the other sociopathies or psychopathies? Like, these are called disorders for a reason, and they're properly labeled disorders because everybody has narcissistic tendencies. They keep us alive. They're healthy. If you had zero narcissistic tendencies, you might step out in front of an oncoming train, or you might not eat, or you might not procreate, or you might not, you might not do a number of other things that are healthy for you. These are the things that keep us alive, but it's the disorder of these tendencies. And so like, just to be very clear, we're going on a lot of tangents, but just to be very clear, I'm trying to give you some things that are food for thought on how to approach somebody who might have no empathy in a relationship. I'm trying to give you some food for thought on how to approach that, so that you don't step away from that with a lot of heartbreak. Because like I believe that you can step away from a bad relationship intact without losing your sense of self, without losing your spark, without losing your comparative advantage in a relationship. You are valuable. You seem like a beautiful person. You seem like somebody who has a lot to offer. You seem like somebody who's really in touch with your emotions, and it seems like those emotions were invalidated for a long time. And I really hate to hear that. So like, I'm not trying to like make this a shit fest on narcissists. I'm just saying, like, maybe consider that, no matter what you're up against, even if the person isn't a sociopath, maybe the person was just completely incapable of going there with you. But even still, even if they were not a sociopath or psychopath, as I said to the last caller, we were talking about that quote from Tony Gaskins that, people teach us how they want to be treated by what they allow, by what they permit. And all we can do is respect that. Like, there's no sense in getting upset about that stuff. People are going to be stupid. It's okay.
You're right. Thank you, Julian. Honestly, you're right. I am a beautiful person, and I know that I have a lot to offer. I'm not like, I am tooting my horn, but I'm not being like, super, out the way about it. But I do know
you're
that
beautiful.
I have a lot
Wait a minute. You said you're beautiful? Are you on Tinder? That was a joke. Sorry, I couldn't resist. That was a joke. I'm not on Tinder.
I was, Julian.
So funny.
You could have listened, Julian.
Goodness gracious! I think this might be a record for the most amount of jokes during a call. I hope you're not offended, but there were so many opportunities for jokes I couldn't resist.
No, I've been loving it.
Okay, great.
I genuinely feel so much better.
I'm happy. I'm glad. I want to suggest some reading for you. Will you read a couple books if I suggest them?
Of course.
Okay, great. There's 2 books I'm thinking of for you. These are popular books here.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is called. The first one is by Dr. Ramani Durvasula, who's I'm a big fan of, and she will be on my channel at some point. I've yet to reach out to her, but I'm a huge fan of her. And her book is called "Should I Stay or Should I Go?" And this is a book about identifying whether or not you are in contact with a narcissist. And this can apply to a dating relationship. This can apply to a family relationship. This can apply to a work relationship or a friend relationship, any kind of relationship. This is amazing book. Let's see here. I'm putting this in the chat for you. There might be some typos, but I'm going fast. Should I stay or should I go? There's definitely a typo. I already see one. And then there's a second book. I'm going fast. The second one. Now, if you get through with that book and you want to go a little, you want more information, I would not read this book first, but this is a great follow-up book to that one. This is just my opinion. I read both of them in this order, and I'm really happy that I did. This is called Psychopath Free. Psychopath Free.
Gotcha.
Should I Stay or Should I Go is about dealing with a narcissist specifically. Psychopath Free goes more into the distinction between different types of psychopaths. So if you read Should I Stay or Should I Go and you think you're dealing with someone with no empathy, then Psychopath Free might be a really great follow-up book for you to read to determine what kind of psychopath you're dealing with. Because again, Should I Stay or Should I Go is specifically about narcissism, but narcissism applies to a lot of different kinds of narcissism is conflated, I should say, with a lot of different kinds of psychopathies. So, like in other words, like this is why people this is why the term narcissism doesn't mean anything anymore. Everybody's like, oh, that person's a narcissist, that person's a narc, and it's like not helpful. Like this is actually a big problem in my view. Like too many people are getting called narcissists just inadvertently on Twitter and stuff, and it's like not helpful. So these are the Should I Stay or Should I Go is written by a PhD. Again, Dr. Ramani Durvasula has done more work than probably anybody on the planet in understanding narcissism. And Psychopath Free is a book about distinguishing between the different psychopath types and how to deal with each of them. So hope that makes sense. These are amazing books, and a bunch of people in our community here have loved these books as much as I have. So I hope they are helpful.
Yes, actually, I was writing them down in my notes as you were, listing them, and I really appreciate the suggestions. I'm definitely going to go to the library. I might go on Amazon, but I'm gonna invest. I'm gonna read these books. I am.
Great, and they both have good audiobooks. If you feel like listening to them, those are both good audiobooks. I don't like a lot of audiobooks, but those are 2 good audiobooks, and they're available on Audible.
Oh, okay. I love audio. Okay, that's perfect, actually.
There you go.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for calling tonight. I really appreciated you sharing the way you did. It was a beautiful way. You sound actually well beyond your years. I almost said your ears. Well, you're well beyond your ears. Yeah. Despite the size of your ears, you're well beyond them. Those are jokes. I'm just messing up because it's getting late. But yeah, the amazing countenance that you have. I appreciated the way that you shared. And I'm wishing you the best in healing from all this. I hope the books are valuable for you. And you can call again anytime. So if this continues to be, if the plot thickens or you want to call back with a good update, you can call again anytime.
Yes, love. Thank you so much again. And if I have any updates, I will definitely call back, or anything new that I want to talk about, I will definitely call back. And I really appreciate you being so nice and giving me all the amazing feedback. And I really genuinely feel pretty good right now. I feel way better than I felt before I called. And for that, I give you snaps.
I'm glad that you feel better after venting here. Again, this place is always open to you. Call again anytime.
Okay.
And yeah, thanks so much. Hoping for a good update.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Julian.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
All right, chat. That's it for tonight. We went 23 minutes late. I think that might make up for the last few times. Well, we haven't wrapped up early the last few times consecutively, but there have been a few episodes in the last couple months where we've wound up like 5-10 minutes early because there wasn't enough time to get into a call. And that one I felt that was like a really important topic and a very unique situation. So I just took my time with it, and I wasn't in a super big hurry tonight, but it is time to wind down the stream. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you to the chat for all the good food for thought. To all the callers who called in, there was some amazing stuff in this chat that I didn't get to tonight that I hope you all revisit, because we can't all be right 100% of the time. But between all of us, if you go through this chat, I'm certain that you guys can delineate between what is valuable to you and what's not. So I hope that all the callers go back and revisit this chat. And thank you to our mods. Tonight we had a few of them. We had Deanna Krebs, King's Pawn, and Garfield Arbuckle. And I believe I saw Easy Cheesy earlier. Am I making that up? I'm pretty sure I saw Easy earlier. I can't go back far enough to see if I'm correct about that, but I'm pretty sure I saw Easy earlier. Our mods are awesome here. Thank you guys so much. And we do these streams 2 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific for about 2 hours. And these streams are the highlight of my week. And I'm always grateful for the intimate audience that is here to listen to the callers. And you guys are truly awesome for being here. This project is a wild experiment for me because like this is not, like I always say at the beginning, this is not entertaining. This is not entertainment. And my channel is typically known for these things. So I very much appreciate that there are people out there in the world that are here to listen to these callers, because I believe this is, I think this is important for people to be able to share the way they do here. So thank you guys so much. Thank you to our mods. Thank you to the callers. Thank you to the chat. And hope you guys have a great night. And I will see you here again on Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern. I will see you then. Good night.